1-4, writing equations and inequalities. We've been translating verbal phrases into expressions. Now we're going to learn how to take verbal sentences into equations or inequalities. So, you need to know some vocab. First of all, an equation is a math sentence that has an equal sign. An inequality is a math sentence that uses greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So if it has an equal sign, it's an equation. If it has one of these signs, it's an inequality. An open sentence means an equation or an inequality that has algebra in it. So that means it has to contain a variable. Okay, here are some examples. The first example, 5 plus 2 equals 7, that's an equation. It uses an equal sign. It's not an open sentence because there's no algebra in it. Okay, the second example, 6 minus x is greater than 5, is an inequality because it uses one of the 4 inequality signs. It's also an open sentence because it has a variable. The third example is an equation. It's got an equal sign, and it's also an open sentence. It has variables. The last one is an inequality. It uses one of the 4 inequality signs, but it's not an open sentence because it doesn't have any algebra in it, no variables. Look at example 1 on page 21. Number A gives us a verbal sentence. The difference of twice a number k and 8 is 12. And then they show you how you write that. 2k minus 8 equals 12. Notice that the word is means equals. When you see something, something, something is something, that's equals. Number B, the product of 6 and a number n is at least 24. At least 24. Is still in there, but it is at least. So you're going to end up with some kind of an inequality sign. Okay? In this case, it says the product of 6 and n is at least. It has to be 24, so that means it has to be 24 or greater. It could be equal to 24, so that's how you get that sign on that problem. This one is a little tricky, and it takes a little practice to get the wording because you really have to think. Number 3 says a number y is no less than 5 and no more than 13. When you see no less and no more, you're going to know that this is a special kind of inequality that puts something in between. So that is why they have a y and they have a less than or equal to 13 and a less than or equal to 5. What they're saying is y comes in between those two. Look at the answer and let's think about what it said. A number y is no less, that means no smaller. That means it can't be smaller than 5. 5 is the smallest it could be. And no more than 13. It can't be bigger than 13. It's in between. And you write it in this kind of interesting, weird, special way. Okay, look at the guided practice on page 20, number 1. It says write an equation or an inequality. Here is what you're looking for. This is how you do it. Divide it up into parts. Okay, find some parts. Okay, the thing that's jumping out at me, quotient, jumping out at me, is at least is jumping out of me, at me, okay? What does quotient mean? Quotient means divide. So I'm going to go, okay, this whole part is one side, and there's a quotient involved. And this whole part is on the other side of the sign. And right here, this is going to be the sign. Okay? That's going to be an inequality sign because is at least goes with inequalities. Plain old is means equal. So it's like, here's one side, here's part of the equation, here's the middle, which is going to be one of those four signs, it's inequality, and here's the other side. If you kind of break it apart, that helps. So first, let's decide just what this part looks like. This part looks like quotient. What does that mean? Quotient means we're dividing. So put the fraction bar. Remember, we use fraction bars for divide. The quotient of a number p and 12. P comes first, so p goes on top, 12 goes on bottom. Okay, that's that side. Now, the other side, I already said, is just this part. So there's 30. Now all we have to decide is which sign are we going to put in there. Okay, it says the answer, the quotient of p and 12, the answer is at least 30. Can it be bigger than 30? Yes. It's at the very smallest. It's at least 30. Can it be equal to 30? Yes. So that means it has to be bigger than or equal to 30. That's greater than or equal to. This answer could be 30, or it could be 31, or it could be 30.1, or it could be 30 and a half, but it has to be either 30 or something bigger. So, this inequality that you wrote, p over 12 is greater than or equal to 30, is the answer to that question. Okay, let's practice on this one. The sum of a number n is equal to 50. First, let's divide it up into parts. Okay? The sum of a number n is one part. Okay? Then, the next part is equal. That's going to be the sign. The third part is 251. So we got three parts. Okay? Wait a minute. Okay, I left part of it out. The sum of 42 and a number. That's supposed to be right there. The sum of 42 and a number. Okay? Well, the sum of 42 and a number, what does sum mean? Sum means add. So 42 plus n. That's that side. Then we've got the middle, is equal. That's an equal sign. Then we have the next side, 51. The sum of a number and the sum of 42 and a number n is equal to 51.